Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today for what will be episode 8 of Baghead Financial. I am, of course, a great guy, depending upon how you know me, joined here by Mr. Casey and Mr. Cuz. Basically, quick market rundown. The U.S. markets are up, for the week. Obviously, this isn't the weekly close since we are recording on Friday instead of Saturday this week. But as of the time of this recording, they're averaging being up between 1 and 3%. The crypto total market cap is up to 2.39 trillion, which is up 190 billion from last week. So, moves going on there. And that leads me to propose this. Is a Christmas rally ensuing?
I don't know what's driving the market right now. I don't think Christmas has anything to do with it, to be personally honest with you.
I mean, that's fair, but, I had this thought. I mean, what if people are, instead of giving, my go-to was always, gift cards and everything. What if people are actually giving crypto as presents for Christmas? What if that's helping in something?
It could be.
I mean, it's possible.
I mean, it's big enough now that people would do that. I don't know. Have you looked into it or not?
Not really. I mean, this was literally an idea I had, this morning. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm just hoping the rally continues. That's it. I'm just hoping the rally continues. Because the prior month has been a little, down and sideways. So, we'll see what continues on from there. As far as news and everything, Senator Loomis, I believe a senator out of Wyoming, plans on introducing legislation in 2022 for clear guidance in the cryptocurrency space. And I believe that this is needed, and as soon as this happens, that will lead to, more institutional investors and everything joining the spaces, because that's why they're pretty much just sitting on the sideline right now. They want to know how it's going to be regulated.
What is clear guidance?
I think it's.
I don't know. Have to see the bill. It hasn't been proposed yet.
It should be regulated just like the stock market is. There's just you got those what I can't remember what it's called, but it's like when they push crypto and then they dump it all at the same time.
Rug pull.
That's illegal. And
right, but also at the same point in time, in order for a stock to be considered a security, which would, put it under the regulation of the SEC and everything, it has to pass this thing called a Huey test. Now, basically, 99.999% of cryptocurrencies do not pass or, get that checkbox off on one aspect of the Huey test. So a digital asset versus, investing in a company, stock, which, is a different type of asset. I believe it needs its own separate set of rules and its own separate governing body to enforce those rules. And hopefully that's what, we'll get some news about here coming up in 2022. It'll make everything a lot simpler for everybody.
Would it be big enough for it to have its own governing body?
Yes. 100% yes. Also, on top of that, if if this bill gets proposed, say it's a good bill and everything, that could possibly lead to the introduction of a spot ETF, which is a physically backed ETF. So any money in that fund, you have to have, let's say it's a Bitcoin fund, to start, because that'll be the first one. You have to have the Bitcoin in reserve. You have to purchase it and keep it in order to cover whatever you have in that fund.
Okay.
I mean, and that will move the market a great deal. So, moving on from that, 2021 has been kind of dubbed in the cryptocurrency space as the year of the NFT. Now, I don't know. I mean, I understand the concept of NFTs, but I don't particularly see the value in them. I'm sure a lot of people out there do, but it's not my thing.
Can you define an NFT?
Non-fungible token. It's basically a digital picture that you own the rights to.
Okay.
And people are allowed to modify it.
Well, that's done through various other things. Like I said, I don't understand a whole lot about it and that. But they also believe that 2022 will become the year of blockchain gaming. So I'm kind of interested to see how that all pans out and plays out. I heard something crazy, like there are these people that are already earning like $30,000 to $40,000 a month doing these play-to-earn games.
That's, I mean, there's been a game, I can't remember what the name of it is, but there's a game out there that's been like that for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous amounts of money. So
They buy digital properties where people can go to them and they can play games inside of them, and they earn whatever money it is in the game, which can be transferred into actual money.
Right.
And then there's like nightclubs and that people go to in games, and there's planets where you go and hunt monsters and stuff like that. You earn money for hunting monsters, and then the owner of that planet gets a portion of the proceeds from people playing on that planet, and they earn money, just like a business in real life in some ways.
like I said, it's going to be interesting to see, especially how that particular technology develops with
Right.
all these different services and everything coming in, especially Sandbox, Mana, CenturyLand, Gala. There's a lot. So
You think VR is going to take off even more so at some point?
I don't know if VR is going to take off.
I mean,
so
because
much.
if you think about it, if you do an amusement park in one of these worlds, you could literally make money having people come to your amusement park without actually physically going to an amusement park. So you could
I think VR technology has a long way to go.
I don't think it's comparable.
I'm not saying like right now, but I'm saying
Right.
if down the road this.
If VR games were as good as regular games on a computer or a console
Everyone
is
would
right
have
now,
it. Yeah.
everyone would have it. Yeah.
That's true. I agree with that assessment. Okay, moving on. For the last bit of discussion we will have here today, you said something to me either last week or the week before. Basically referencing that you didn't think, or you weren't aware that taxes need to be paid on cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's a capital gains tax.
Yes, and it does fall under capital gains, so we will touch on that briefly. Basically, capital gains tax is when you profit off of a trade. Okay, let's take, for instance, you bought $5 of Bitcoin and you sold it for $10. You earned $5. You profited $5. That profit gets added to your income. As long as, that trade, you weren't holding that Bitcoin for a year. But we'll get into that here in a second.
If you keep it in the stock, though, you didn't earn anything.
We'll get into that in a second. But, so that basically just gets added to your income as long as you didn't hold it as long as you held it for under a year, rather. And then after all your income is tabulated and added up, you are basically taxed on whatever your tax bracket is at that point in time. Okay? Now, as you started to touch on long-term capital gains, if you hold an asset for over a year, whenever you sell it, whatever the profit is off of that asset, it's a flat rate of 20%.
But you can think into it now. As an example, Elon Musk is going to pay $11 billion in taxes to the U.S. government this year, and if he just kept the stock, if he kept the money in the stock, he wouldn't really have to pay anything. But he's just basically proving a point to shut some people up about him paying taxes. that he's just going to liquidate so much of his stock, and then he's doing it on purpose.
Well, also he had that. I believe those were stock options from 2018. So I don't know if he actually had the stock or if he got it as soon as Tesla hit $1 trillion. I believe that's what you're talking about.
I'd have to look into it a little bit more, but I know that he didn't have to pay $11 billion in taxes, but he is doing it on purpose, just to prove a point.
Elon Musk. There we go.
Shout out of the week.
Now, also on top of that, it's difficult to track, and actually, let me start off by saying I reached out to a crypto CPA 3 days ago. He did respond to me and told me that he was, on vacation till the first of the year, and he would be willing to talk to us. Because I had questions, especially about like the staking rewards and like the lending rewards and everything, so on and so forth, with those particular programs. He did recommend. Obviously, there is apparently it's either a program or an app or something. It's called CoinStats. That's obviously not a sponsor of the channel, nothing like that, but apparently you can link all your different exchanges and everything you're on, and it just tracks all your, profits and losses and everything. And apparently it just makes the tax nightmare that is realistically, at this point in time, cryptocurrency a lot easier.
What is it, automatically? Just like...
Yeah.
Add it in.
Yeah, and then, you just give the file to your CPA. And there you go. There's all your crypto stuff on one thumb drive or,
yeah.
One sheet, whatever, depending on how many trades and everything you make. So, just a quick tip out there for you guys. And I am personally going to be looking into this, and I would assume you probably will be too.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I don't know too much about that. So.
You don't want the IRS coming after you, bro.
Yeah.
So, anyway, any other thoughts? Do you understand a little bit more about how you have to pay taxes on crypto now?
You explained it to me.
Right, I mean, briefly, though. Yeah. But, I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that, apparently. And I kind of figured it was, especially with, like, staking pools and lending programs and everything.
I've only been using one program. I figured at the end of the year they would have some kind of tax form that you could print out and give to your accountant. That's what I figured.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know if I didn't think I had to track my own.
Well, unfortunately, with the exchange that we use, they used to. I think they did away with it this year.
Okay. So I have to magically make up paperwork in my head.
Like I said, I don't know. I'm waiting to hear back from the CPA. So,
right.
Anyway. But yeah,
that might be something to look into.
If I were you, I'd look into
Well, I mean, literally, if anything, I made like $1,000, so it's not that big a deal. And
right, but I mean, most of that $1,000 you made, you're holding.
In most things,
you don't have to worry about taxes until you sell something.
Yeah, the limit on most things. I don't know if I'm right about this, but I think it's like you have to make like $2,000 or so off of something in order to.
No, it's $3,000 in income before you have to file taxes, I believe.
So I'm not even there yet.
You work. You made more than $3,000.
Oh yeah. I mean, in my regular job, but that doesn't count.
It's total.
Oh, is it total? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
That's the point I was getting at. So anyway, fair enough. Well, if you found some value out of this content here in particular, remember to like, share,
subscribe,
hit that bell button.
There we go. Episode 8 of Banghead Financial. Talked about some important stuff, especially with tax season coming up here shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm, of course, Gregor Guy, joined here by Mr. Casey and Mr. Cuz. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you learned something.